Hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Ben Damla. Görsel Hanım'da takdim ettiği gibi kurumsal iletişim yardımcısıyım, uzmanıyım. Aynı zamanda çevirmenim ve Harry Potter hayranıyım. Bugün ilk moderatörlük deneyimim olacak. O yüzden şimdiden özür diliyorum herkesten bir hatam olursa. Sevin Hanım çok sağ olsun bizleri kırmayarak konuşmacı olma davetimizi kabul etti. Kendisini büyük bir çoğunluk Harry Potter çevirmeni olarak tanısa da aslında yazar, çevirmen, gazeteci, eleştirmen, radyo programcısı çok yönlü bir değerimiz. Hoş geldiniz Sevin Hanım.
Çok
öncelikle.
antipatik geliyor kulağa yalnız.
Estağfurullah. İlk sorumla başlıyorum o zaman. İlk sorumla başlıyorum. Bugün bu odada Maruf'ta bazı tematik oturumlarımız düzenlendi. Bugün de Urban Basics dediğimiz temelleri sağlam at konseptinde bir sürü oturum düzenlendi burada. Kentte olmazsa olmaz değerlerden, temel haklardan bahsettik. Gıda hakkı, evrensel temel gelir, kent hakkı, erişilebilirlik, kamusal mekan hakkı gibi birçok oturumumuz oldu. Tabii Maruf 4 günlük bir etkinlik ve yer ve zaman kısıtından dolayı bazı temellere değinemedik biz. Ben size sizin için kent hayatında olmazsa olmaz temeller neler diye sorarak başlamak istiyorum. Sizin için kent hayatında olmazsa olmaz temeller, temel haklar neler?
İş hayatında mı? Hayatta mı genelde?
Kentle ilgili her konuda. Evet.
Kentle ilgili. Bilmiyorum ki. Ben yani kentler arasındaki ilişkiyi düşünüyorum. Yani öyle şimdi bilmiyorum öyle mi? Yani biz çocukken ve gençken öyle bir şey vardı. Yani benim şehrim diye düşünüyordum. O zaman adı şehirdi zaten. Ve biz çok böyle, annem de Beşiktaşlıydı, İstanbulluydu. Ve onlar böyle o sıralar dediğim ne oluyor mesela, ben 15 yaşında olsam, söylesem mi acaba, 57 falan diyelim. Mesela bir yeni semt var, onu merak edip giderlerdi. Yeni bir otobüs konmuş. Mesela biz Beşiktaş'ta oturuyorduk. 28 numaralı Fatih otobüsüydü. Maltepe'den gelen iki arkadaşı, annem, ben, bizim ön tarafına oturup otobüsün Fatih'e kadar gittik. Fatih'te indik, orada bir yerde bir böyle muhallebi, sütlaç bir şey, bir muhallebiciye gittik yani dinlenmek için. Sonra tekrar 28'e bindik, Beşiktaş'a döndük. Çok memnun olduk yani, hani şehre hakim olduk. Özellikle bir ayağı Beşiktaş'a olan bir otobüs yani. Sonra ben bu şeyi devam ettirmeye kalkıştım. Politikadayken zaten bir sürü şey yanında aynı zamanda işçi muhabiriydim ve grevlerle, direnişlerin özellikle çok yoğun olduğu bir dönemde. Onun için hiç bilmediğim yerlere gidiyordum. Mesela avcıları ben adını duymuştum ama hiç görmemiştim yani. O direnişler sayesinde gördüm. Başka yerlere, bir sürü yerlere gittim ve bayağı şey yaptım yani, bu sahiplenme işini bir adım ileri götürdüm ve yeni bir otobüs gördüğüm zaman, kulaksız mesela, kulaksız, neresi bu kulaksız? Kulaksıza gidiyor. Bayağı gidiyordum hepsine yani, gidiyordum bir tur atıyordum. Mesela Reşit Paşa daha yeni konmuştu otobüsü. Orada pek her ne kadar halk memnun kalmadıysa da kahve halkı, kahvede oturup bir çay içtim, ondan sonraki otobüse döndüm falan. Ama buna son veren bir olay oldu yani. Sarıgazi'ye gitmeye kalktım. Karşı taraftayım. Karşı taraftan otobüse bindim, Sarıgazi'ye gittim. Sarıgazi böyle hafif böyle çöl rüzgarları esiyor gibi tozların uçuştuğu bir yer. Ne yapayım dedim, şimdi arabaya binmeye cesaret edemiyorum. Pek güven veren bir şeyi yok taksi şoförlerinin. Ne yapayım, yanımda da fazla para yok. Taksiyle zaten gelebilecek miyim onu da bilemiyorum. Orada bir otobüs kaçırmışım. Bir daha böyle dolandım. En sonunda bir otobüs buldum. Bindim, buraya geldim. Dedim ki tamam. Şehir çok büyüdü. Sen her şeyi kontrol edemezsin. Bu Sarı Gazi'yle bu işe bir son verelim. Yani sahiplenmeyi çok önemli buluyorum. Şehri sahiplenmeyi. Ama diyeceksiniz ki sahiplenmeyi önemli buluyorsun da ne yapıyorsun? Hayır, kendi aramda sahipleniyorum herhalde. Fazla bir şey yapmıyorum ama çok severdim eskiden. Hala da seviyorum. Bunu da fırsat buldukça yazmayı severim.
Peki dünden bugüne sahiplenme açısından ne değişti sizce? Hala eski bildiğiniz İstanbul'u mu sahipleniyorsunuz yoksa çok büyük bir
Yok canım,
değişiklik
hiç
oldu
ilgisi
mu
yok
İstanbul
yani.
için?
İlgisi yok ama bu da başka bir İstanbul. Ama yani hakikaten itimat edin ki daha güzel bir İstanbul'du.
Used to be a much nicer Istanbul, and it was smaller, it was more controllable, so we always knew everything. So at least we knew where the districts were. So I have also been riding taxis that do not know about the location of Shishli, Beşiktaş, Taksim, and when I asked and confronted the taxi driver, he said that he just came from Mardin, and I said, who on earth has decided to assign you with that kind of responsibility? Actually, they always ask where, and they say, where is districts? And they said, where is Jamal Reşit Rey? And I'm actually happy that they are close to each other, all those places that I travel to. And also, I love reading about Istanbul. I love buying books and also keeping them, holding on to them, like engravings and sketches. And of course, there are local libraries of different municipalities like Fatih, Üsküdar, Beşiktaş, and there are other places. So there are lots of very nice books on Istanbul, and there are also books that are not that so nice, but if you choose the ones that you think are nice, they are actually good reference books. But there was a book that it wasn't limited to me, of course. There was another book that everybody else, when I was working in TV, we have published this Encyclopedia of Istanbul, which was really nice, actually. But it would have been nicer if we had more younger people, because everybody tells about the city that they know of, and also at the same time there's another party to the of Istanbul that we cannot really enjoy, and it looks like a weird building to us, but maybe they could just tell their perspective. And actually, about Istanbul, I have these questions. So you are writing about portraits, like biographies of people, and you have also turned it into a book. And these essays were on actual people, about the people that you really enjoy writing about. If you had a chance to portray Istanbul, how would you summarize Istanbul for those who do not know Istanbul? We cannot hear the speaker. Can we turn on the mic, please? Unfortunately, we cannot hear the speaker. It's inaudible, and we cannot translate, unfortunately, because her mic is off, or there's a technical problem. I'm terribly sorry, but we cannot hear her. It's still not working. Okay. So when you hold the mic, you feel like you want to sing. I'm sure they must have heard everything that I may ever say, because there's this, we have this wonderful and extraordinary river going through the city called the Bosphorus. And in order to understand the energy and the vibe of the city, you have to be here. It's not all about the mobility, the vibe. The city has its own energy and its vibe, and you can only understand and comprehend it while experiencing it personally. And of course, spending a couple of months here, and if we are not in a position that we are not slaves to the traffic, it would be even nicer. And I would really prefer to send photos or videos. So you talked about the rise of the concrete, how the city had become a city of concrete. And last year, I believe, we have learned that you have worked for the Marmara Municipalities Union, and you have mentioned it in the article that you have covered for the newspaper. And the Marmara Municipalities Union has been established thanks to a manifesto prepared to protect the city, and I have been working for this union for a couple of years, and this became a very hot topic, and it became an hot agenda topic because of the mucilage. And although it has been 50 years ago, we have understood that the problems reoccur and repeat themselves. And you can also comment on that, and maybe can we say that there has been some kind of improvement in the awareness about environment? And you mean since then? Actually, talking about the developments that I have perceived back then and what I have heard back then have been quite impressive. In 1975, I was working in the newspaper. It was my first experience in the press, I think. I started working at the Marmara Municipalities Union in the 80s, which was based in Cağaloğlu, then moved to Sultanahmet. I have never been in the actual current building. I keep seeing it from outside. And I have also mentioned that I was working in the political department with Selahattin Hilav, who had very young people, who had young friends that he really enjoyed, and they always been hanging out with him, Selahattin Bağdatlı and Selahattin Yıldırım. Unfortunately, I missed Selahattin Yıldırım. I couldn't leave because I was just giving out autographs, and I wish I could meet him as well. I really learned a lot back then. What did I learn? First of all, as I mentioned earlier, let me just start by saying that there's this bond between the city and the urbaneer and the citizen, and I have also observed and realized and perceived the bond that is between the municipality and the people. And the municipal administrator should not be seen as a simple administration, and it should be there. And I have seen that it exists, and it was very exciting. And EU, Europe, and the rest of the world, and also all the other parties. And after we have other parties that are part of covering these kind of issues, and like the Milan municipality is a guest of ours today, and the IKSV, the Istanbul Foundation for Culture and Arts, is also running these kind of mobility activities. I have also seen this kind of exciting, and I have also seen the effort to do something nice. and they have been also paying a lot of attention to, and I've seen that, and it was very impressive. Of course, this is now possible and available, but it wasn't possible and available then. And maybe I have worked for 4, 5 to 6 years back at the Marmara Municipalities Union. It has come to a place which is now different. And thanks to the Marmara Municipalities Union, it's covering a larger audience, and I have learned a lot of things. I have translated a lot of documents, and which were sometimes really weird, actually. The first dedicated lane of project of Attila, I think I have translated from English, and Attila would know it better. I have learned a lot of things then. And I'm very pleased that I have learned so much. This institution has always been a place, like a place that I know, although I don't know everybody. There was Selahattin. Halil was there, with a famous lawyer. There was Devlet, Mustafa Kürkçü, and we used to work together. And I was also working for another newspaper, and I would just go there like half a day, and it was really cool, actually, to work there. As a title, as a member of the public relations department, and what I remember the most is would be the press bulletins and also press releases. We would just edit and control each other's work. And what we did the most with Mustafa was to just copy all the texts that using the duplication machine, and also blending them to be, and also if you do well, you could just save your time, and that's the most I remember. And I would always try to cover a lot, and we were really working hard to make sure that we would duplicate all the documents via many folder, and there had been days where we had to carry all the boxes because other people were so busy, and we worked really hard, and we never complained. And Mustafa was also a hardworking person as well, and now is based in Izmit. I can't meet him, I can't see him as enough as I would like to see him. And Mustafa has written me something, and his son has seen it on Facebook, and says, and his son, who also knows me, was so surprised that we knew each other. And it were really nice times. I remember those times really fondly. This has been a period where I have learned a lot, actually. So, can we talk a little bit about now translation? So I would like to talk about translations. So, you have also talked about the Dictionary of Imaginary Places as a project that you are proud to translate, especially, but I know that you are interested in the fantastic works or fantasia literature, and contrary to the common belief, and of course the authors are using, like J.K. Rowling has covered several different Latin words, like uses puns and uses different similarities and similes. And in the translation of these imaginary places, what kind of an impact does your urban experience have on your translation work? So how do you just reflect it on this experience of living?
Hepsi için. Is it a question for the book on the imaginary places or all the books? Or for all the books? Of course, it's a different field, because in Harry Potter series, while translating, you have to invent. You have to create your own words. So Ülkü translated the first book, and it got ill he got ill, and we were given book number 2. And Kutlu Khan, so I started to work with him as the advisor. He was coming to our office. I was struggling to find the translation of the name of a mythological animal. Was it a wild boar? I don't remember. He's saying that, oh, it's XYZ pig. So it was very easy for him to find the words as the translated version. So I get so sad for not being able to find it. So I was not able to make it possible to translate it by the deadline, and I gave 100 pages to Kutlu. He said that, yeah, I can do that. I can translate it. He did what he did. And we cross-read the pages. He read mine, I read his, and we delivered the translated version of the book. They checked things out, and they were happy. And they said that we're going to give you book number 4. Ülkü is going to translate book number 3. But in book number 4, there was not so much about sorcery or the imaginary animals, and we were given book number 4, and we translated it into Turkish. And then Aslan Dinç called me, and she's reading lots of books, as she has many friends from the writers and translators, and she called me urgently saying that, you have to come. She asked me, how's it going? We said, okay, we're in chapter 20. She said that, just leave it. Translate book number 3. Wasn't Ülkü going to translate it? Said, no. He was not able to. I said, how come? The deadline was the 5th of July. So how shall we translate book number 3 by leaving book number 4? What's the deadline? She said that you have to finish it in 15 days. I said, whoa, easy. I mean, can one translate the books in a book in 15 days, and they're thicker? So we have the agreement on 3 days, delivering it on 3 days. So I settled in the home of Kutluhan because it was much easier for me to ask about the words. But we got so ill. I mean, physically, we were sitting at the table day and night. We just wanted to have some fresh air. We go out, and there was a cafe in Caddebostan, and one of the waiters was very interested in fantasy world, and he said that, why don't you just translate the book? One waiter said that we were waiting for the release of book number 3. So we were going to take a few sips of tea or coffee, and we were going to leave the place, and we got rebuked by the waiter, and we went back to home to translate, and we were given book number 4, and we noticed the fact that we have translated some of the words differently in book number 4, different than book number 3, and we were given all of the Harry Potter series, and volume number 5 is a pain in the... So I said, Kutlukan, I want to just grab him, Harry, and ask him why he does all these things. So why are we translating teenager things? I was asking him. And he said, his mother and father passed away when he was 1 year old. I said, oh, he's the only one who lost his parents for the first time. Of course, my favorite themes starts in book number 3. I used to like Cyrus. I liked Lupin. Who else did I like? I like Snape. I was reading what he did. But the team of Harry Potter's father did so bad things on Snape. So I believe that Snape was one of us. I believe that Snape was from Istanbul. That's what I have always believed. Yes, in general, we like all the characters. They were like family members because we translated them for so long. I don't know, but I can say that I have to give the credit to Kutlu Khan, since he did not like that kind of things. He used to avoid, and that's why my name came up front. But we translated the book together. He was configuring different words like zihni ben, zihni sen. He was inventing words. He said that you are not unable to find those weird words, but you just put that burden on my shoulders. Yes, I translated some weird words, but the weird words were the inventions of Kutlu Khan. He was so capable in making up new words. When Kutlu Khan saw the book for the first time, he said that this book is beyond our league. It's so difficult. Geography, architecture, archaeology, you have to be knowledgeable in all these areas in order to translate that kind of a book. Because in literature, you have to explain the imaginary places like a tourist guide. And just imagine, I'm explaining you where the monsters are located, which ones are notorious, where are the good places in those imaginary places, and without shame, they write with the style of the writers. And Kutlu Khan said that also this was the case for Selahattin Özbalabıyık. So we translated the book in 3.5 years. All of the English speakers in our family were abused as the final reader of the book. So it was such a weird experience. I bought another Mangwa book, Library in at Night. That's the title. Elif was in NTV, a broadcasting company, and Elif was the head of the broadcasting, and I was translating a book in this show, in this TV show. She said, "What's that? Is it Markwell?" She saw the page. She said, "Is it Markwell?" And she said, "Do you want to torment our family? You have to return this back to the publishing company." Said Aslı, I was given this duty, so it went to Dilek. So Kutlu Khan and I translated the book all together. So the books themselves were so difficult to translate, and that's why. And the publisher liked us so much because we translated the Dictionary of Imaginary Places. So they tried to pay us less money. An editor left the company back then. And we were paid with a very little amount of money and said, okay, we translated the book titled Dictionary of Imaginary Places, so whatever. And they gave us Harry Potter series, and we sat around the same table with Kutlu Khan and we discussed, what shall we do? It's the boy, it's our boy. What should we do? And then the management of the publishing company changed. I don't know if they can pay that much amount of money, but I have to say that Yapı Kredi publishing house, even though the publishing money is not paid, Yapı Kredi has been paying us publishing money, even this month. I'm not going to deny it, of course. And this is very rare in the publishing houses in Turkey, but Harry Potter's was a top seller, and it has to be the precious of the publishing house as well. So the final question. This is also related with translation. Actually, translation is considered as a desktop job, and maybe that's what it is for all of us, and we might prefer to get drowned in books, and we might prefer making translation desktop. But one has to also recognize and get to know the city culture and your translation practice. What kind of a place does a city has? Istanbul, the city that you grew and you were born, how does Istanbul impact on your translation? What do you mean? I have, my audition is not so well. I'm having difficulties in hearing you. What do you mean by your question? So do you see the impact of Istanbul on your translation? What kind of an impact does Istanbul have on your texts? So I can work everywhere I want. There's no problem on that. So by the way, I don't have a notebook. I don't use any outdoor space to work. For example, I was in a festival in Istanbul. I was using the devices of some other people saying that, oh, I have to send a mail. Can I use your PC, etc. Istanbul is good for me in creating my work. Maybe it's because I'm used to the city. I mean, seriously, I used to stay at my friend's house because I don't want to. That's not what I want to do today. Because if I want to make translation, I don't have my PC with me. I have some habits of using glossaries. I have glossary section in my library, and I'm so used to in using them. So here's what happens to me in Istanbul. If I'm in a cafe, if I sit at a cafe, I can take notes. It's good for me. I feel good when I do that. Maybe it's a familiar place. If I were a person from Ankara originally, Ankara would make me feel the same. I was born in Istanbul, and that's what's good for me. And our city is quite inspiring. So I can merge Istanbul with my translation texts. Is there any feature of Istanbul that you dislike? If there would be one thing that you translate about Istanbul, what would it be? The people of Istanbul. Of course, some people can stay. I don't care if they're really originally from Istanbul or not, but there are some people who do not like the city. They don't go so well with the city. It's maybe because of the difficulties in economy. It's very difficult to live in the city. I don't like new buildings. Why? It's not because they're new, they lack taste. I used to take the pictures. Things have started with Grundig building. You know, I like the color, and then I stopped doing it. So you cannot keep up with the new buildings that erect all the time. If I would work outdoors, I can sustain doing it, but the people outside want us to work at home instead of working at a cafe. And the waiters tell us to go home and do our work because they're expecting us to translate the book that they want to read. And we got rebuked by the waiter back then. So that was all from me. Ask questions. We can proceed with the Q&A from the audience. Sevin, I want to ask you this. Being a translator is a desktop profession to do, and Istanbul is very hectic, very noisy. Did it have a negative effect? Have you wanted to escape from this crowdedness of Istanbul, I cannot hear you by 60%. Because it gives, the microphones gives reverb, and that's why we're not able to hear each other so well. And I'm not complaining about the crowdedness of Istanbul. The lack of quality is what I'm complaining mostly. No, crowd is not what I'm complaining about. I'm 81, so I've been living in this city for 81 years. So this city has become crowded over the course of time. And the domestic migration increased back in 1950s, and people migrated to some peripheral neighborhoods. Social anthropology is the area that I was unable to read about or study about. It was included into the curriculum a few years after our graduation. And they chose Zeytinburnu as a shanty town, as a pilot area. And there were 20 students who were making studies on that. And they stayed at people's houses and they discussed the situation with people. And Istanbul Chamber of Commerce has sponsored their studies because it was published. The book prepared by the students back then was published with the sponsorship of Istanbul Chamber of Commerce. So little by little, that kind of neighborhoods became more and more in number before we know. But of course, there are some limits of the city. And as I said, I cannot put up with the hostility of the people who are very much against the city itself. I'm not disturbed by the crowd. Since my childhood, I work where the lights are on, where the people are around. I can sleep in crowded places. I'm not disturbed by the crowd. But I prefer to stay at home to work, if I am to work. And I prefer to stay in my city if I am to work. Any other questions? I believe there is none. Thank you then. Thank you so much for coming and to listen to me.